Regular guy, and welcome to Regular Guy's Firearms Channel. Today we are going over the SCAR 16S Extended Review. Now, for those of you that pay attention to the channel, you recall that I posted a video not too long ago asking you if you wanted me to post a extended review on the FN SCAR 16S. Now, the extended review meaning not extra detail that I forgot or anything like that. It's more of a how is the rifle doing over a length of time with a number of rounds through it. Now, I've had this rifle for a few years now, and whether it's training with Costa Ludus in northern and central Florida, going to Camden, Tennessee to train with Tactical Response, shooting with Force 4 or the Tactical Firearms Academy down in central and south Florida, we're starting to figure out, that this gun has been shot a lot. Or just recreational shooting or teaching people how to shoot with a carbine type rifle. Now, this particular rifle has run itself through a lot. I've put this rifle through about 5 different carbine courses, each one spanning a minimum of 1,500 rounds apiece. Some of them were higher than that. Okay, so with that just being said, that's a lot of rounds that have been through it. This rifle in total has been put through about 18,000 rounds. It just crossed over that 18,000th round during the advanced fighting rifle class in Camden, Tennessee that I took with Tactical Response. Now, what we're going to go over is its service life. What have I noticed while I've been carrying the thing around or have been shooting the thing? Were there degradations in accuracy? Were a lot of myths that people were talking about held true? And on and on and on. And what we're also going to do is we're going to strip the rifle and basically show off how it wears. How well does it handle dealing with a high round count like that? So, and a big thing to know also, by the way, is that the vast majority of ammunition that I blasted through this rifle is Wolf ammunition. Okay, you guys can see the steel cased ammo in kind of a crusty magazine, but it's the principal ammo that I shoot. And whether the ammo is rusty or not, it works. So for the love of God, can we stop bitching about Wolf ammo? Anyway, I'm going to move the tripod here, and we're going to move over to the barrel. Now, the barrel of this rifle is kind of neat because it's impressive in that it can handle things like a distance accurate shot with a pencil profiled barrel. I can shoot the thing fast, and it's light. Okay, now there are advantages to a pencil profiled barrel and disadvantages just like anything else. Now, first things first, pencil profiled barrels heat up faster. But unlike heavy profiled barrels, they also cool down faster. And the reason being is that because there is less steel to insulate the heat, it sheds it a lot faster. Make sense? Now, another really nice thing that is accommodating as far as how well the rifle sheds heat also has to do with its gas system. Now, its gas system is short stroke piston operated, and realistically speaking, okay, I'm not the guy normally that advocates short stroke piston guns all the time because the advantages that a short stroke piston offers you are not particularly in favor of the average person. Meaning, the advantages that a piston gun gives you is in 3 really big categories. The first one is in full auto fire. How many of us do full auto fire? The second one is suppressed, the transition between the two and just going from a non-suppressed to a suppressed setting on the gas system is very easy. You don't have to worry about lead times or timing issues, and all this other shit. Now, while they're more popular than they were in the past, especially in the few years that I've owned it, not that many of us are running around with a suppressor on our rifles. And the third really big one is maritime operations. How many of you are coming out of a body of water and shooting at things instantly? You know what I mean? So the advantages that a piston gun gives you, the major ones anyway, are almost void in a lot of ways. But a way that they do help the average everyday dude is that your working assembly, meaning your moving parts portion of your rifle, is typically much cleaner and there's less heat that builds on those parts. So that does help you, and it does allow you to basically beat the shit out of the parts longer without having to replace them. Okay? And honestly, the way that this gun wears, and we'll show you here in a minute, the operating system is going to outlast you, and the children of your kids are going to have to replace the parts. You know, so it is what it is. But that being said, let's go ahead and go to the gas system itself and go over a couple of things that I noticed. Something that I noticed and that I said that I particularly didn't like at first about this rifle actually still holds true to this day. And it has to deal with iron sights. Now, every once in a while, I like to stretch my legs on iron sights just to keep the axe sharp. And in my initial review, I stated that this was a pet peeve of mine because it's easy to sweep off with gear and whatnot. And either batteries would die because I used to put shitty batteries in my optics, or I would decide I'm going to shoot with irons today because I want to make sure that I'm still shooting straight with them. And the minute I start walking around and shit like that with gear, it sweeps right off immediately. So, honestly, at this point, I haven't given it too much thought, honestly, because I've shot a lot more with the optics on than off. But thinking more as I go along, when I get to a point where I can replace it with a set of Troys or something like that, and it's just the rear sight, not the front, I will go ahead and do so, because this is a consistent issue that's not going away. Alright, now in a gas system such as this, your 12 o'clock position is your standard firing mode. Now, this rifle's gas system, or its piston, has not been cleaned recently. Matter of fact, I usually clean this thing around every 1,000 rounds or so. And when you start to let it get away from you, you start to notice things like it starts to try and stick on you. If it tries to stick on you and you need it to work, you can use basically the ass end of a pocket knife and just twist it. Because if you twist it, I'm sorry, I'm slipping a little bit. All you have to do is twist it to the point where the tab on the inside here catches. And from there, you can switch back and forth because now it's in its suppressed setting. Going back to the standard setting is as simple as that. And yes, it does stick a little bit because I haven't cleaned the piston in a while. Ooh, oh God, clean that gun, blah, blah, blah. But you'll also notice that the bleed-off valves on the gas system are right below your front sight base here. And you can actually see a little bit of carbon buildup on it. But in any case, it works very effectively. The gas system bleeds off unnecessary gases very, very, very effectively. So what that translates to is a smoother operating rifle altogether. However, something that I slated was a problem before that isn't now, actually, is the rail sections here. And a lot of people complain about, oh, they're short and this and that and the other. I personally don't care about this anymore. mainly because the way that I shoot with this rifle now is not the way that a lot of people try to make it be shot. I grip this rifle with this little stubby grip here in a similar manner that I would a short barreled rifle, because the rifle itself was originally designed to be much shorter than it is, especially the light. The SCAR Light was supposed to be a 10.5-inch gun, and because of NFA issues, the civilian models are shipped in mass with 16-inch barrels. Now, there are longer barreled versions of it. There are 14.5-inch barrels out there and stuff like that, but the fact of the matter remains. This is a carbine length set of handguards, railed handguards, and all the shit that's on it is based around a carbine length gun. And I used to be really, really wrapped around this C-clamp and stuff like that, and a lot of people will name it different. Like the guys from the AK Operators Union will call it the Scorpion grip and shit, which is whatever, it's all the same. But instead of messing with a C-clamp grip on the rifle, I instead just kind of use it in a similar way that I would actually use any other down grip and whatnot on the forend, to where I'm just using it as a reference point, and I would just kind of stop my thumb on the light and go to the pressure pad for the D-ball if I have to. So now a lot of guys will say, well, what about that charging handle getting in your way? I've been in all manner of positions, and I've been in all manner of weird places to shoot this rifle. And unless I'm laying the rifle out and extending it this way, you have nothing to worry about. And if you are worried about getting your reciprocating charging handle in dirt and causing malfunctions, all you would really have to do if you're stretching out in that particular shooting position is lay your hand under the rifle, use the magazine to prop it up, and your forearm to pin on the stock here, and you can basically leverage it and use the rifle's controls as you need to. Just keep your digits pulled back or braced on the optic to where you're basically going like so that you can stay out of the way of the charging handle, and that's not a problem. Okay. Something else. Now, there have been a lot of complaints about sling mounting hardware for the SCARs, and how what comes with it doesn't offer enough movement, or it's too small, or it's not in the right locations. And I personally agree with that. This key ring, however, has been in the same place for the life of the rifle. This is the same exact key ring that I had when I did the first review on it. So it's not like it's in a really terrible place, but like a lot of people say, you know, there should have been more thought given to the design as far as the sling mounting hardware than that, and I personally agree with that, because as the rifle comes stock, you have this on the right side of the gun, and a very, very small hook on the inside, as well as this is all HK style sling mounting hardware. And then you have the one up front on the left side of the gun, complemented by two more back here. I personally don't like that this was done. Later versions of this rifle I would like to see with something back here and one on the underside right in front of the fucking rail section there. So you solve the problem for both hands, and you put less loops on the rifle. So, food for thought, FN. Another thing that a lot of people, again, have problems with, but I personally do not. Now, there have been other reviews in the past that went out, and a lot of people did not like the fact that the stock, while it's telescopic and folding, the folding latch on it is made out of polymer. Now, this folding latch that is in fact made out of polymer honestly has seen no real wear. However, I hardly folded the thing up. The only time that I ever folded this guy was to transport it somewhere. And I've snapped it back into place every time. It's been a few years. There's no real issue with it. If you personally have a lot of distaste for it, there is an aftermarket one out there that's aluminum. And yeah, I know it's bullshit because, you know, a $2,000 rifle that you have to immediately get aftermarket parts for is bullshit. But truth be told, this isn't really an issue. This guy has been awesome. Anytime that I put magnified glass on this thing, at any point in time that I put magnified glass on this thing, raising that little cheek cone just a little bit makes all the difference in the world in how affirmatively you can use that piece of glass, whether it's on heightened rings or not. And it's absolutely a fantastic feature, and it's rugged as shit. Yes, it moves a little bit up and down, especially after age, but when your face is sitting on it, it's not moving at all. And if you dedicate a SCAR to mid to long range shooting, you can physically tape it down with like electrical tape and whatnot. I've witnessed a lot of guys do this, and they have no complaints with the cheek comb over time. And honestly, I think it's a fantastic ass feature of the stock itself. Now, something else. This to me is such a bullshit claim, because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, the stocks are flimsy on them. That might be the case for earlier rifles, but like I said, this rifle's about 3 years old now. Okay? It's seen a lot of use, it's been shot a lot. We can tell where I like my stock, one notch out, so I like shorter length of pull. But even when it's retracted, even when I was using it with glass, even good glass, there isn't much movement whatsoever on this stock. It moves a little bit up and down, yes, but do the same thing to a Magpul MOE stock. See how much that fucker moves. You know what I mean? There are aftermarket stocks out there for ARs like the UBR and shit that don't move, or the CTR that you have to beat the shit out of that thing before it starts moving. But that little movement in a 5.56 rifle is nothing. Okay? So, realistically speaking, there are a lot of little complaints on this rifle, but that's exactly what they are. They're little complaints. They have very little merit. We're field stripped. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the individual parts, and we're going to see how they wore. You guys can already start to see it, but we're going to get nice and up close. Now, the finish on FN guns isn't anything to really scream about, but you can see that it's held up pretty well. That is a testament to short stroke piston guns and how much less stress they put on your operating system. Because this thing has cycled an ass load of rounds through it, and there isn't that much wear. It's not that bad. Okay, we're going to look at this bolt that was originally this silvery color, except for this guy. And no cracking, no deformation of the bolt itself. This little notch in it is supposed to be there, yes. Okay. So there's no cracking, there's no deformation, there's just crap on it. But you can see it's actually in pretty good shape. Okay. The cam pin wears evenly, which I personally really like. Damn, this fucker is dirty. And what's funny too is that everyone's always concerned about charging handle wear for some reason. But there you go. So the gun wears pretty evenly all around. Now, here's the thing about this field strip. Okay, if I just pulled, the operating system out of it just to wipe it down, so I left the bolt in it and all that good jazz, one thing that I don't like is this. This is a small mandatory part that has to come out of the rifle, and honestly, I can see this getting kicked or stepped on or being lost in the dark or whatever, you know what I mean? So, and yes, a lot of guys are going to be there are gonna fucking stand up in their fucking mother's basements and scream at me. Oh, well, you wouldn't take it apart in the dark and blah. Okay, I get it. Shut the fuck up. Point is you can't just field strip it anywhere like you can an AK-47 or an AR or an M4, whatever you want to call it. Okay, I wouldn't field strip this anywhere at any time. So that to me is a personal problem with the design. That being said, it's not a big deal because the system runs clean enough to where I can wait for daylight. Make sense? Now, something else that I noticed about this rifle is that field strip and reassembly after the field strip is kind of slow. Now, a lot of guys are going to sit there, and again, they're going to stand up in their mother's basements and scream at me saying, oh, well, the field strip's not supposed to be that damn fast and blah, blah, blah. Well, here's a problem that I have with that. If I'm actually shooting at people and my rifle suffers a pretty bad malfunction to the point where I have to rip the lower off of this thing, I have to worry about pulling the lower, getting the stock off, pulling the recoil spring out and the bolt and bolt carrier, and getting this charging handle out before I can actually get the rifle disassembled and then put back together. It's kind of slow, and we have to worry about a small part. So speed, in a sense, is kind of important. So that's another issue that I have. Now, a big selling point that this rifle had, and it was in real serious competition with the ACR, was for being able to change out barrels for different lengths and calibers and shit. First things first, where the fuck are the caliber conversions? That annoys me. Secondly, where this rifle pulls ahead of all of its counterparts that can do this is the barrel change. Now, it is a more tedious process because you have to take a fucking torch to undo the Loctite, securing the barrel into place. However, having done this and put the barrel back on, put the Loctite back in, torqued it down to the proper poundage and evenly, and then went ahead and shot it, unlike all of its competitors, this rifle returns to zero. That is such a badass portion of this rifle. It's not even funny because your ability to change missions just went out the fucking roof. Because all you would really need is, now let's say that I got someone to fabricate an AR pistol tube, right? Yes, I know about Viltor, but they don't do a pistol tube. Let's say that I got a pistol tube on here. I could throw a 12.5-inch barrel on here and be good to go for a close-in mission, quote unquote. And then I could save my 16-inch barrel or go with a longer barrel with a stiffer profile, and with the shorter, with the pistol length tube, right? I could keep that on there, zero both the barrel lengths to different glass, meaning the shorter barrel goes to this guy or one of my aim points. The longer barrel goes to magnified glass, like an ACOG, or something better than an ACOG, like almost everything. And voila. All I have to do is change the barrels out, mount the glass, and I have a pretty damn close to perfectly zeroed rifle. The reason why I say perfectly damn close to zeroed rifle is that you pulled your barrel, and even though it returns to zero, you also pulled your optic. So it's a catch-22. But it's pretty damn close to perfectly zeroed. And with a rifle that is a long-distance rifle, quote-unquote, you can make adjustments on the fly after that. Or you can go ahead and do a little bit of Kentucky windage with your reticle. So your ability to change missions actually exists with this rifle. And it doesn't exist for any of its competitors. Don't give a shit what anyone else says. You pull the barrels off of those quick release guns and they don't hold zero worth the fuck. So, that's a major advantage in that this rifle can actually change its personality. But with the kind of annoying comes the more annoying. This rifle does not like Magpul PMags. Possibly the best magazine in the world does not like this rifle. And this is why. This little extra amount of body in that magazine catches on your bolt catch and pushes it up prematurely, because this little section of that magazine is pushing it up. Now, comparing this to a GI magazine, we can see the clear difference on that left side, and this is particular to the left side. Now, how you solve this problem if you really want this rifle, but you got 1,000 PMags like a lot of other people do. All I did was file some of this shit off. Wow, there's a lot of fucking wilderness in this magazine, I swear. But all I did, and this is actually a fresh mag that I did this to, all I did was relieve some of that. And the best way that you test that is you pull the lower off the gun, and when you pull that lower, all you really need to do is push your rounds forward a little bit. Just a little bit. To the point where that left round isn't catching on nothing. Okay. And make sure that you're not catching on it. Because if you are, you're going to cause problems. Now, we have that magazine. Let's do a different one. Or one that hasn't been cut. See what I mean? You will cause problems if you don't do this to your PMags. Something else, guys, if you run PMags in this, you are going to strip them out of the gun. The polymer on polymer contact makes the magazine stick. Personally, I strip my magazines anyway, so that doesn't really matter to me. Because it's not as much about speed as it is me grabbing my other magazine first and making sure that another magazine with ammunition in it is good to go before I strip that old one out. Now, all this being said, what's the final verdict? Well, it's accurate. It's balls on accurate, actually. It's taken an absolute assload of abuse. It has literally done everything that I asked of it. Has it encountered malfunctions? Yes, actually several. But it's either because I had magazines that were bad, had bad ammunition, or switched it over to suppressed and didn't switch it back. There was also another instance where I was trying out a Surefire Mag 60 and that thing just did not work at all. I don't recommend Surefire Mag 60s because they're very wishy-washy on which ones work and which ones don't, and that's just unacceptable for a 90-round magazine. I'm sorry, $90 magazine. So, honestly, would I recommend this to someone? Yes. Does it offer advantages over AR-type rifles, especially piston AR rifles, to the point where it merits the price tag? Honestly, no. The reason why I bought this rifle is as follows. I fucking wanted it. No one needs a Porsche, which is pretty much what this rifle is. They want one, okay? This is a high-performance machine with proprietary parts. Be knowledgeable of that, okay? Because these parts are not as cheap and readily available as all the AR and AK parts that are out there. And it does have a couple of quirks that knock a lot of people off of it and onto an AR or an AK. But all of that being said, this thing has been tortured to death, shot to pieces, and it has kept coming without a problem. So, my personal opinion on it, if you can, fucking buy one. But remember, guys, this is all my opinion, so you can take it for what it's worth, which is rated somewhere way below I don't give a fuck. But in any case, if you like this video and want to keep these coming, go ahead and like the video, share it, favorite it, and subscribe to the channel. I'll be glad to have you on. I'm on Facebook now under A Regular Guy's Firearm page. I'll leave a link in the description below. And that's it for me, guys. Remember, A Regular Guy's Firearm is the last defense against tyranny. Be easy.